arrived one day too late, with one bag and a head full of hate. Met old Paisley there for a drink, homemade bread and Kid John sing. I could love that first cigarette and a coffee for my head. Throw our feelings out on the floor and killed red wine and killed some more. All my friends are alcoholics. So no sleep for 3 whole weeks. I've got a cold and broken teeth, and a heart that's grown a hole. Yeah, no St. Paul has got my soul. I'm in the local at that bar, with cold feet from a broken glass, and an arm around that friend. Let's take one more drink so this don't end. All my friends are alcoholics, with all their talk of getting old. We're all brown and grey and gold. All my friends are alcoholics. Take heed of my advice. It don't matter if you're nice, or you're nasty, or alone, or you're a guest in someone's home. Just take one drink every day, and pretty soon you'll hear them say that you're welcome straight back in, with your beer or bourbon or Coke or gin. All my friends are alcoholics, with all their talk of getting old. And we're all brown and grey and gold. All my friends are alcoholics.
Yeah, so I want to talk about King a bit, the album you put out, I guess it was last year.
Yeah, last October, so it's, wow, almost a year old.
And it's a concept album based on a German play from 1830.
Correct, yeah. It is. It's not as hoity-toity as it sounds. There's a very famous play called Wojciech, a great kind of unfinished play by a guy called George Buchner. And because it was unfinished, lots of people have kind of taken this play and put their own spin on it, given it their own ending. So it's been tackled by a lot of different people. I've seen Tim Rogers, who I'm sure people would know from UMI. I've seen him in a production of it here. Tom Waits did a version of it himself. So it's just, I've been aware of it for quite a long time, and it just happened by accident, really. I wrote a couple of songs, and they were about I was trying an experiment, which was to stop writing soppy folk songs about myself and maybe write for a character instead. So I wrote a couple of songs about these two characters, Jack and Mary, and they live in kind of 1950s small town Australia. And then it started occurring to me that there were similar themes between what happens in Wojciech, in this play from the 1830s, and what I'm writing about. So I decided to kind of travel down that path and see what happens, and accidentally wrote a concept album.
Yeah. Yeah, I never heard of the play, and then of course I looked on Wikipedia, and yeah, I saw how many people have done it, have like put their spin on it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a great play. It's kind of a tale of
It's sort of it was described on Wikipedia, that reliable source,
Yeah.
as a working class tragedy. Is that sort of
Yeah, it is. In a nutshell, it's about a soldier who's returned home from war. He has a wife and a child, and he's basically trying to. He feels worthless. He's also kind of experienced post-traumatic stress syndrome, really, which was something that probably hasn't been tackled in literature or something, anything like that beforehand. So in that way, it was quite groundbreaking. This guy's kind of going mad from his experiences in the war, but also he's trying to keep his wife happy, and she's not very unhappy. And I think the attention of another man is kind of getting to him, and basically he gets driven mad by jealousy, and yeah, post-traumatic stress. So it's an interesting, very dark. It's not a comedy, but it's pretty cool.
And listening to the record, I was wondering if maybe having this concept to tie everything together maybe freed you up stylistically to just detour into different genres and different songs. There's some that are sort of country and some that are, I think the one with flames in the title.
Nobody Leads Me to Flames.
Yeah, that reminds me of almost Elvis or something. This kind of like rockabilly.
Yep.
And then there's horns, and there's just lots of. It kind of seems to cover a lot of ground that maybe if you didn't have that concept, it would seem really kind of like all over the place without it.
Yeah, that's spot on. You're completely correct. I'm glad you said that, actually, because it was, as I said, the first time I've written for characters and written within a storyline. So, certain parts of the story, there's a beginning, middle, and an end, and it might call for a happy song, which is, it might require a kind of pop song for that kind of feel, or something tragic might happen, so you have to write a kind of darker country kind of song. So, yeah, I was kind of, with what sounds like being restricted by a storyline, I was actually freed up, because I was like, right, well, I can kind of write whatever I want, because I have to fit the mood at that particular time of the story. So it was really interesting and really fun. It was almost like being given a recipe and go, here's what you have to do to create this album. You need a happy song here, a sad song here, a crazy song here. So
it's almost like a school project or something, or like a homework assignment. Tonight you write.
It felt like that sometimes.
Tonight you write a sad song. And tomorrow you write an angry song.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to do your homework, so you just don't write anything.
That's right.
And then you get in trouble from your producer, Paul Dempsey.
Yeah, how was working with Paul?
Look, it was great. I don't know if I'm sure people know Paul from Something for Kate.
Of course, yeah.
Paul and I have been friends for years, and I approached him to do it. I said, I've got this idea in mind, and it's a pretty different thing for him to do. He's pretty straight up kind of rock pop writer. But it was a really good collaboration in that I'm lazy, don't know anything about microphones or mixing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Am a mediocre guitarist at best, and he is a nerd. Yeah. And he cracks the whip, and he looked after all the kind of engineering, and he plays a lot on the album as well. Okay. So it was good. It was a good balance, because my songwriting is pretty kind of loose, and his is very succinct and sharp. Okay. So he would kind of edit me in a good way. Yeah.
And was that in Brooklyn you were recording with him?
No, we did it here in Melbourne.
Oh, in Melbourne. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, not here in Melbourne. I was down there in Melbourne.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out all the because you were living in London, and then you mentioned being with him in Brooklyn, and then lots of.
Yeah, I wasn't there with him in Brooklyn, but he was. I was in London. He was in Brooklyn.
Gotcha.
We met in Melbourne. Okay. Yeah.
And it's a German play, so it's all It's got a lot of global.
I'm a worldly man,
You
Doug.
are, yeah. Speaking of that, I wanted to talk to you about touring Europe with Low, supporting Low. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
pretty wild. How was that
Yeah.
experience?
That was one of the greatest experiences of my life. The Minnesota band Low are one of my favourite bands and have been for a really long time. And I'd met Alan, the singer, years ago at a festival when I was playing with the Drones, and somehow winded up with his email address. And this was, 8-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And a couple of years back, I was listening to Low's new single, sitting at home on the couch, and looking at their tour dates for the year. And I noticed they were doing this huge tour of Europe. And I just went, nah, I'll try my luck. Emailed Alan and said, hey, it's Mike from the Drones here. I've just put out a solo album. Don't suppose you need a support in Europe by any chance? And literally the next day, I got an email back from their management saying, hey, Mike, Alan told us you want to support us in Europe. Here's all the dates. We'll see you there. And then I went, oh, shit, whoops.
Yeah,
now I have to pay
now
for
you
this.
have to follow through. Yeah.
It was incredible to get to
Yeah.
watch that band every night for 2 months or whatever was just a blessing.
Isn't it amazing when things actually work out that way without like all the
Yeah.
the stuff that is usually
All,
part of that
all the
process.
business. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had a
yeah.
few experiences like that where I've literally just written to a band that I've been a fan of or whatever and said, can I do some shows with you? And they're like, yeah. It's a little easier than people think.
Well, James from Tanswells was telling me about how he approached you about playing in Beechworth, and it sounded really similar. And he was kind of like. He's like, I just asked him and he said yes. And I was like, I did the same thing. Asked him to come on the radio and he said yes. And then I was like,
God, Mike Noble will do anything.
will you play a song too? And he said yes to that. I was like, what?
Yep. There's a word for that. It's,
Pushover?
pushover, yeah. I was thinking of a different word, but yep, pushover will do. Yep.
But in a good way,
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm
That's good.
honoured that if anyone like James from the local pub here in Beechworth came up to me in Melbourne one night and he'd been watching my show and said he really liked it and would I like to come and play in Beechworth. And for me, that's the beauty of playing music is you get to do these strange things like, wow, I get to go to Beechworth for the weekend, hang out in this beautiful town, do a gig, which I love doing and meet new people. And that's the beauty of music. It just takes you to these wonderful places.
Yeah, I should say this is part of a sort of a string of solo, often free performances you're doing.
Yeah. My booking agent and I decided it was time to just kind of get out there and play a lot and play in a lot of places that I've never played, and obviously I've never played here. So yeah, I'm trying to do some more rural stuff in Victoria.
I wanted to say too, I was searching, doing my requisite research. I saw you had done something with the Rock and Roll Writers Festival.
Yeah.
So what did you do with that?
That was a few months ago. They asked me to come up there and speak on a panel, which is something I've never done before, but I really, really enjoyed. I was on a panel with Adelita from Magic Dirt and Cash Savage as well.
Oh, wow.
And it was the subject of the panel. It was a great little festival. We ran for a couple of days. They had some really good people speaking. Also journalists and musicians and writers and authors and all sorts of people. And the subject of my panel was very broad. It was kind of the art of songwriting and how do you do it kind of thing, to which I had no answer whatsoever. It's a combination of hard work and, I don't know, sometimes it hits you, sometimes it doesn't. That was kind of my answer. There's no magic to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I'd love to do more of that kind of thing. I don't mind a chat. So
Yeah, it seems like a really good concept, that festival.
Yeah, they brought it down to Melbourne as well. So it was in Brisbane, and I also spoke on the Melbourne one. And I think next year they're thinking of making it a permanent thing in Melbourne.
Yeah, they
So,
should.
keep your
I
eyes
got
peeled.
lots of emails about it, but I didn't get to actually go.
You should come and have. We should have a chat there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get out of Beechworth.
That's right.
All right.
I wanted to, we talked about King a bit, but I want to talk about your previous two albums. So your first album was Folk Songs, is that right?
Yeah, folk songs.
That came out on Sensory Projects.
Yeah.
Which is funny because they're known for when they were around and going, it was kind of quite experimental stuff, a lot of it.
Yeah, lots of instrumental stuff.
So to have a sort of solo guy put out an album called Folk Songs on it.
Yeah, and it was
seems-
blatantly my mission with that album
Yeah.
was to just write acoustic guitar folk songs, influenced by, whoever, 60s Dylan or Donovan or whatever. Yeah, you're right. Strange label to put it out, but Steve, who runs the label, just seemed to love it at the time, and I was pretty young, and the idea of anyone wanting to put out my record was just mind blowing to me. So I thought I'd hit the jackpot. So yeah, that was a long time ago. And then the second album, the one before my last one, The Balladeer Hunter, that was more of a kind of, again, an experiment in being kind of stripped back and simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put a little band together for that. But, and that was, again, pretty kind of country folk stuff. But stylistically, this new one, King, I mean, obviously the subject matter is completely different. And stylistically, it feels like a huge departure for me. And I'm kind of digging it a lot more than, I can't, in some ways I can't see myself going back and writing a bunch of soppy, sad folk songs about me anymore.
Yeah.
Who wants to hear about me? No one wants to hear about me.
It got great reviews. You know, it got 4 stars in Rolling Stone, and I saw lots of other. Again, when I was researching it, it sort of seemed universally, you know, acclaimed in terms of the coverage I saw.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
So it seems like one of those things where you step out, you try something different, and you know, you get rewarded for it.
Yeah. It's certainly nerve-wracking. I mean, putting out anything, as you know, as a writer, anything you do like that,
it's a constant.
Putting yourself on the line a bit. So yeah, I took a leap, and people seem to like it, which is good. Yeah.
And it's quite a lot of the songs are sort of with a band on with King. So is it strange now to go back and you know, almost reverse engineer it, almost bring it back to its bones now when you're doing these solo shows?
Yeah, it is. It feels a little strange, and it's a little difficult. There's quite a few songs off the record that I can't play with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
So tonight, for example, at Tanswell's here in Beechworth, I'll be playing a mix of kind of older stuff and whatever new stuff I can do. I've got a band in Melbourne. I just can kind of bring them up to town this time. But when we do it, we normally play the album from start to finish, and it's a full rock and roll experience. But tonight is, you know, a little more laid back. That's all right.
Yeah, I should say, for anyone who hasn't heard the album, you know, we're talking about it being a concept album, but beyond just being songs that are sort of related by a theme, it's actually, you know, there's a narrator, you know, which is Noah Taylor. Pretty good get there.
Yeah.
And everything it's sort of in parts, and there's coda, and you know, everything sort of just flows into the next thing, and it really is, you know, almost more like a play or a musical than just a rock album. Yeah,
the original idea, which we didn't go with really in the end, was kind of being influenced by, I don't know if people remember, I had when I was a kid storybooks, like children's storybooks, and you would put on a little record, and so there'd be like a narrator, and you'd read along with them, and then when you heard like a ding, it'd be time to turn the page.
Like Little Golden Books?
Yeah, kind of like that, but they came with a record and someone reading them to you. And
I actually have a box set of Little Golden Books with the records in it, each one.
Yeah, there you go.
Each one is the record, and you play it, and then it tells you.
That's kind of where the idea for this album came from. The world's darkest, most scary Little Golden Book. Yeah.
It is, And most Little Golden Books don't really have allusions to JFK and
murder and jealousy and psychedelia and maybe
It's funny with the Little Golden Books though, because I got this box set, and it has songs that are like made up for the books. So these books that like everyone knows, these famous Little Golden Books, you know the book, but it's not just someone reading it. It's like they read the book, but then they have this interlude where there's some like weird 60s or 70s folk song.
I love that.
About like the floppy dog or the saggy baggy elephant or something, and you're just like, what? It's really.
I love that idea.
So really, yeah.
That could be a new market for me.
That's right.
Writing songs for Little Golden Books.
Yeah, weird,
scaring children.
That's right. I don't like this story.
Yeah, and the kid come with a photo of me, and I don't like the look of that scary man with a guitar. He's all dressed in black.
That's right.